We've been seeking out covered bridges for 10 years now, but not just any bridge. Small bridges across the ditch, scale model replicas, and covered footbridges are not the kind of bridges I'm looking for. Sometimes I couldn't tell their size until we got there, so I took pictures. They just aren't included in my count. Bridges that do catch my attention are the originals, standing where they're built. Bridges rescued from destruction and moved to safety. And bridges that have been lovingly rebuilt or rehabilitated to again serve the public. New bridges make my list because they're built for economic reasons. But now it's tourism dollars instead of helping farmers get their crops to market. By my count, there are 123 bridges in the upper Midwest. I'm missing 3. The bridge in Chester, Illinois, and 2 restored bridges that recently opened in Michigan and Indiana. As we tour the 6 states, you'll see each bridge and hear some of their stories. Let's start in Illinois, where the number of bridges is increasing. The Red Bridge was built over Big Bureau Creek while native son Abraham Lincoln was in the White House. The Wolf Bridge was rebuilt after it was burned down, but unlike most of the rebuilds, the new version is equipped with security cameras and a sprinkler system. This old bridge was moved to private land near Roscoe, Illinois. It's called the Young Bridge to honor the family that owns the property now and was kind enough to allow me to photograph it. After shooting a dozen or so in Parke County, I learned it's home to more covered bridges than any other county in the country. After seeing all of them in Parke County, we decided to visit the rest of Indiana's 90 covered bridges. The Ramp Creek Bridge in Brown County is the oldest existing bridge in the state and one of just 4 2-lane bridges remaining in the United States. It now marks the entrance to Brown County State Park. The Aqueduct Bridge is another rarity. It's the only wood aqueduct bridge left in the country, built when canals were being created to move cargo and food to market. It carries Whitewater Canal over Duck Creek. Depending on how you measure bridges, the Medora Bridge is the longest historic covered bridge in the United States. It has 3 spans over the East Fork of the White River, 430 feet between abutments on either side of the river, which is 8 feet longer than the Cornish-Windsor Bridge in New Hampshire. One of the prettiest settings for a bridge is in Montgomery County, where the Darlington Bridge crosses Sugar Creek, but it's only open now for foot traffic. Crooks Bridge is the oldest of Parke County's 31 bridges, built in 1855. We're going to show them to you in chronological order. The Jackson Bridge made a political statement in its time. Named in 1861 for President Andrew Jackson, a fervent believer in preserving the Union at a time when Southern states were about to secede. The first bridge I ever photographed was the Connolly Fords Bridge in 2009. The Phillips Bridge is the shortest one in Parke County, just 43 feet. The Roseville Bridge may not look like much, but locals discovered it was well built when 3 fuel tankers inadvertently drove on the bridge at the same time. The covered bridge in Bridgeton was rebuilt after a fire in 2006 because the bridge and nearby mill are one of the main attractions for the annual Parke County Bridge Festival. Some bridges, like the Edna Collins, are thought to be haunted. Edna loved to swim in Little Walnut Creek. She often asked her parents to drop her off at the creek on their way to town and then stop on the bridge and honk 3 times so she could rejoin them for the trip home. One time, though, Edna didn't get in the car. A search found her, drowned in the stream. Her grief-stricken mom took her own life. Today it's said that if you stop on the bridge and honk your car 3 times, a mom and her child will knock on your window. The Rolling Stone Bridge wasn't named for the band, but for a rock in the riverbed, spun by the current of Big Walnut Creek. It's a special bridge to me because of the fortunate timing that allowed me to capture this image. The Homer Bridge doesn't show up on many lists of Indiana bridges because it only served as one a short time. Washed downstream by a flood in 1892. It was used as a barn. Then it sat as a pile of wood until 2009 when local enthusiasts restored it. The Hillsdale Bridge stands in a park honoring the most famous person to come out of Dana, Indiana, famed journalist and war correspondent Ernie Pyle. Madison County, Iowa was known for its bridges before the 1995 movie put them on the map. At one time they had 39 bridges. 6 are still standing. The Cedar Bridge has paid the price for its fame. It's been burned by arsonists twice, most recently reopening in the fall of 2019. The Rosamond Bridge has a leading role in the book by Robert James Waller and the movie featuring Clint Eastwood and Meryl Streep, as it stands less than 2 miles from the farm Francesca called home. In Marion County, Iowa, the old Marysville Bridge was split in two many years ago. Half of it stands in a Knoxville City Park. The other half of the old Marysville Bridge crosses a ravine on county land that's now used as a shooting range. When Henry Ford was assembling structures for his museum and living history park, he bought and hauled the Ackley Bridge from Pennsylvania and gave it a prominent location in Greenfield Village. The Morris Bridge is the third of 3 on private property I needed help to photograph. Moved onto farmland years ago, it's now frequently used as background scenery for wedding pictures. Cedarburg is the only historic covered bridge remaining in Wisconsin. It was left where it stands in 1941 when county officials built a stronger bridge alongside it. The bridge at Stonefield Village in Cassville doesn't have any historic connections I could find, other than its location at a historic site. The bridges near Wild Rose and Park Falls are new, old bridges, built with a town trust designed by Ethelial Town. Local officials decided it was worth it to build a covered bridge now that might attract tourists. You can learn more about these bridges. If you want to, check out my blog at dwmossner.blogspot.com and follow the link to my covered bridge collection. I'm David Mossner. Thanks for joining me.